and it's about the first time I worked with a dying patient a few years ago. And it's also about how providers struggle to make meaning out of death. So this is CNA Clinicals, day number 3. It was mud, all mud. His language lost in pain and loose teeth, and it may have been important. May have been a plea or a priest, a cigar, forgiveness, or stealing his sister's lunchbox, his brother's wife. And do you think we fill in other people's cracks to heal our own? Some days I drag soap over broken bodies to convince myself that I am clean. My instructor never turns their groans into stories. She pokes a straw through his chapped lips to shut him up, and has me hold his wrist to feel how blood leaves the extremities. When the heart begins to scream, feel how his pulse shakes like a wet caged bird. He jolts. He'll squirm less when he's dead, my instructor jokes, and laughs when my hands jump to cover his ears, betraying my need to protect this patient from her sharp truth, her rough decree, that to the world he is already unhearing, unseen, unformed, already dispersed, beyond our reach, beyond revision, the way fire burns wood into ash, the way that ash and water will forever be mud.
And so this final poem we heard a little bit about in Gerald. This is Bright. I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer just prior to starting medical school, and I had a curative resection, so it was a pretty uncomplicated process, but I have noted that, especially when I started clerkships, it definitely kind of approached patients differently or had a different perspective on being a patient because I had been one. And it influenced me in a way that I really didn't think that it would, hope for the better, but definitely kind of made me take pause a little bit more on having patient interactions, and this poem is kind of a reflection on that. So this is Bright. Welled up with tears the first time I saw it, a liver, all smooth, jewel, and sterile brightness, surprised, I think, by its proximity, by how peaceful she looked. Ribs slackened, eyes shut, could have been sleeping. Although by now I know I must have been as weak. Silent prayer frozen on my lips, whisked off into reliably dreamless sleep. Someone else's bread and butter. These days I look into the patient's mirror, and a starched coat reflection stares right back. Wide-eyed and unfamiliar and green. Mouthful of words I cannot understand unless through my own greasy-haired reflection, adorned in hospital gown. Consider, the only time the inside of a body is not pitch black is when it is in need of repair or being repaired, and I have never known my insides to be so bright. Run my fingers across the hypertrophic spots of my scar like beads on a rosary. I think a medical student closed me up, but somehow I don't mind as much anymore. Thank you guys so much.
The last poem I'll be reading is the one that I submitted to this contest. It's about my grandmother's death when I was in the 7th grade, and how memory and grief change over time, and what remains all these years later. Here the light is always fading, and the dead speak to us in flutters. In the lull of our routines, mounds of unwashed pots, damp laundry reminders we magnolias. When we crowded around my grandmother lying in the hospital bed, her face was chiseled alabaster, windless lake. By that time, her lungs had turned to mycelia, her liver packed asphalt. Nodules bloomed like violent nuts. I knew enough at 12 to know the story would end with cathedrals of smoke, light through a veil. The nurse asked for her name. Bawine, he said. Bawine, she said gently, while combing my grandmother's hair with her nails. I watched my grandmother, who knew no English, and arrived underneath hospital sheets when her doctors and nurses entered, fall into repose. Tenseless, like the sun nestling within a distant field. Grief sank them from tangled wires and the incessant whir of machines. There's not much I remember after that, or maybe there's not much left. Cartographer my grief drawing whirlpools in a map I'll later use to retrace this time. I know now that memory takes more than it gives, but I remember the noise foaming at the edges of your mouth like a wash. And I remember your voice, a mouthful of hummingbirds, their beaks from the skyward. Thank you.